It's time for another episode of What's on the Rack. Ooh, these look good. Hey, Insomniacs. Welcome to the second episode of What's on the Rack, and we have a doozy for you this week. It is a double-sized episode because last week we had an incident with our puppy Pumpkin. I don't want to go into it too much, but there was a lot of garbage involved. So, anyway, we are back with a special double-sized edition, and we are looking at a very cool two-parter that appeared in the first two issues of the DC 100-page comic giant of Batman. Now, these were a comic that were exclusive to Walmart. Back in 2018 and 2019, they ran for approximately 14 issues. There was a Superman one also, Wonder Woman, Titans, and then later, I believe Flash and Swamp Thing also joined up on that. So if you ever do find some, I definitely check them out because they're really cool. You get like an 8 or some odd page lead story, which is a brand new story, and then at least in the first two issues of the Batman one, you get some really cool reprints. You get the first two parts of Batman Hush, done by Jim Lee. You also get the first two issues of Nightwing. I believe they might be the new 52 issues. I'm not 100% caught up on Nightwing, so I'm not quite sure. My main comic book reading, I'm still back in about 2006, so I'm playing catch up a lot. And there's also the first two issues of Harley Quinn, where she has the pigtails and she moves to the new city, and there's some really good issues, and there's some good art in all of the stories in these two issues. So our main Batman stories are written by Jimmy Palmiotti and penciled by a Patch Zurcher. If I'm mispronouncing that wrong, I apologize. They're two really good stories. It's kind of old school Batman 70s stories to me. The story involves a granddaughter that has been kidnapped. The gentleman is a big food guy in Gotham City. His granddaughter's been captured, and there's only a certain amount of people who would have access to her. And it's kind of a really good whodunit. It probably would be one full issue back in the 70s, but in today's comic book world where everything is kind of stretched out to longer stories, I could see why it became two stories. But 8 or 9 pages each, that makes about a full comic anyway. So the story involves this granddaughter being kidnapped and Batman going on to the mission to find the girl. And it's really cool because he really feels a personal connection to this case because the granddaughter's parents were killed in front of her, much like his parents were when he was young. So he's just trying to help this girl out. And the artwork by Patch is really good. I can't say enough good stuff about it. Flipping through issue 1, we get this awesome splash page. Really cool to just see Batman swinging out at you. We also we get some really cool stuff with the Batcave, and I kind of like this Batmobile design. Not as much as my 70s one, but here, you take a look at it. What do you think? Not bad? Yeah, I think it's pretty good. And it's a good whodunit, and I actually wasn't able to figure it out. Maybe I'm just a little slow in the comic book department, but the case brings Batman after this head of security that he's trying to. He thinks that maybe he has some information about who kidnapped the girl, and of course, the thug, he doesn't know much. He's not really a thug. He's just head of security, but he doesn't know much. And Batman strings him up. And take a look at this. Why in the world would Batman get on the phone with Alfred right in front of this crook? Like, that's a big, I think, red flag to me on Batman's part. But who knows? Maybe the thug was actually knocked out. In the prior panel, he's still very much awake. So I don't know. Batman's Batman, I guess. So the case brings him to the theater in Gotham where his parents were murdered outside. So this becomes a very personal case for Batman. We get a nice flashback to the night that he went to the theater with his parents to see The Mask of Zorro, and how much fun and loving he was with his parents. And it was just, they had a great time at the theater. And then, of course, we get a 1-page, 9-panel, awesome 9-panel of his origin of his parents being taken down. And then he is suddenly in the headlights of some crooks. And that's where part 1 ends, as they're going to run over Batman. On to part 2, which is called One More Chance, part 2 of 2. I forgot that was the name of this story, but it's a really good story. We get another awesome splash page. Take a look. I just love how Batman's cape just kind of turns into bats. It's just so freaking cool. And Jimmy Palmiotti and Patch Zurchler are the team again in charge of it. And we get Batman as he's in the headlights. He looks back on his career briefly, and we get about 18. We get two full pages of 18 panels of just villains and stuff that's happened to him, and it's a really cool look at some of his rogue gallery. So I enjoyed that a lot. We get to fight the crooks in front of the theater, and he obviously makes his way inside. You know, he doesn't. Thugs are just nothing. They're just normal folks to him. He just takes them out really quick. And we get into the theater where we discover who has kidnapped the little girl. I'm not going to give it away in case you track down the story, but it's a really good story, and the girl is deaf, so Batman has to use sign language. And when he finds her, the shot is just, to me, it's classic Batman. Wow, I just love how the cowl is just covering up his whole face, and he's just in the shadows like Batman should be. Very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. And we get a nice aftermath after the story is done, where we find out what happens with the theater. And One More Chance, really, the title just is very fitting for this story. I really enjoyed it a lot. You can kind of find them relatively cheap, under $20 on eBay or on comic shops. You should be able to track them down. I haven't read all 14 issues, so I don't know how the other lead stories are. I was able to get these two as they were coming out, and I don't think I kind of lost track after that. So something to look forward to in the future. Now, I also said I had a huge announcement in the description for this, and I want to share that with you. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it is an announcement, and you'll have to come back tomorrow to see the video to find out more about it. But I want to say thanks for all those that watched my tribute to Jimmy Buffett. I really appreciate that. It's now the second most watched video on my channel, and I just love that. I am a huge parrot head, and it really means a lot to me that you guys all checked out the video. And I found a way to honor Jimmy's memory, and we're going to do that the only way I know how, with some movies. And I want you to come back tomorrow, and we will talk about that in a brand new vidcast that's going to debut tomorrow night, and it is called Take Another Road. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I have some really cool stuff planned for that. So please come back tomorrow, and we'll get to that video. So that's all I got for now. Thanks for checking out this episode of What's on the Rack. Come back next week, where we will do this all over again, and we'll see what's on the rack. Make sure you like this video. Give us a comment if you have these. If you don't have these, what stories you'd like to see here. I will do my best to try to track some stuff down. We will be doing some Marvel stuff along the way, and some other stuff, whatever I can find. We're gonna talk about magazines. I might do some famous monsters. I have them over on the rack, and some just really cool stuff that I hope to get to. This is going to be a long time, and there's a lot of comics to read. So please, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for checking it out. Make sure you do the little bell so you get notifications when a new video goes up. And we will see you next week right here for another What's on the Rack. See you tomorrow night, guys. Bye.